Ready? Go. I do believe we're live. So, I'll say, indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again. It's raining out there. You should be able to hear it then. So, I'm inside. And it's nice. It's nice to be able to learn from the world. I practiced yoga today, and it was raining, and then the rain stopped. Literally during the time slot that I practiced yoga with the friends. And then as I was in my Shavasana, doing like the 2 minutes before I have to bring everybody out of it, the rain starts again. It felt like the rain stopped just for a little bit for me. Sam isn't here just yet. Get all of your nonsense out the door quickly, vinnig. Vinnig means quick in Afrikaans. Quickly, vinnig, doen it. And then afterwards we can have a conversation about being willing to learn. That is what today's stream topic is about, from me at least. I had a beautiful day yesterday. Yesterday we had a whole conversation about hallucinations. And there was one key theme that seemed very important to me. And it is the fact that we, as we are experiencing reality right now, can see it as a controlled hallucination. That what I think reality is might not be the same thing you think reality is. And if we can figure out some sort of way to hallucinate this thing, maybe we can figure out how to bring what is in mind into reality. Right? And then I took all of that with me. And I went for a walk on the farm. I walked about like a mile, maybe 2 miles. Maybe a little bit more. One way, you know. I think it's about 2 miles. At most 2 miles. Right, walked 2 miles, and then I climbed that little mountain, mini mountain. I'm pointing in the general direction because some of you friends definitely have seen it in the background, but I don't know if it ever registered as close enough for me to walk to. I did technically make my way there. I'll say. I wanted to say other things, but I'll just say I made my way there. Right. Traversed many an obstacle. But after it, and I found myself right at the summit of that little hill, staring out in this entire space. It suddenly became clear to me how much I can see. How much there was for me to see. And I had this whole experience of bringing a high point to that high point in this area. Like me being able to look over all of that space gives me the ability to bring more love into the world as the version of me that's standing there for that moment, right? It's almost like thinking about it from a place of showing up, right? If a firefighter shows up to a burning building, you kind of have an idea of what they're there for, right? They're like, oh, good, Mr. Firefighter man gonna fight fire, right? And I showed up with that kind of intent. I wanted to be me, with the intent to be me as I am on that hill, mini mountain. And there was such a experience to learn from. When I got to the very tippity top, there were these interesting holes inside the rocks. Very odd ones. Very, very odd ones. The one I'm thinking about is especially odd. If you have trypophobia, it would not be something you appreciate. It has these weird looking holes. All right? And then I witness and I see, and I keep walking on those rocks, finding myself comfortable there. And then at some point, I just go laying down, belly down on the rocks up there. And I feel like me drooping myself over a mini high point, a pinnacle of this space, right? Like drooping myself over it, like an egg being fried on reality kind of thing, you know? And I realized that as I was laying down, there were holes below me as well. And at first, I just reached down and I like held onto one of the holes, almost like nuzzling myself up against the rock, like I was hugging it. It felt extremely regenerative to lay on that rock and like feel my back expanding as I'm like hanging over it, kind of thing. And then, of course, like this hole that I was holding onto, I, without any rhyme or reason, started playing it. This hand, I just like slapped the rock face. Some of it was smooth, some of it was curved. Depending on which surface you slap, it made different sounds. Depending on where on the hole you slap, it made different sounds. Depending on which one of my rings hit the rock, it made different sounds. And then I just got lost playing rocks. Playing them rocks up in the mountain. And it felt like returning to Monkey in so many words, but in a way where it was like an authentic experience for me to have. Like I wasn't being performative for the sake of someone else's enjoyment, right? That's what I learned about myself at the very least, is that I can find such deep joy in being in the midst of a performance. And I think that's maybe another lesson that I learned yesterday. It's all performance, right? Some performances can be really stiff and uncomfortable, a little bit awkward. Some performances can be really smooth, charismatic, unassuming. But I think it is a matter of being willing to learn from your experience, from your life, learn which energy needs to be applied, learn what's required. There's a bunch of, what do you call them? Flying ants. We call them a rice mira, which directly translates to rice ants. They have these small little fatty bodies. And when it rains like this, sometimes they are prompted to go and seek themselves new nests. A bunch of little females go out there trying to compete in this big world. It goes to say that the birds really enjoy these circumstances too. I've been watching the occasional bird sweep down and eat them. And it makes me think about the harshness of reality a little bit. You know, Sam? It is nice having you here, by the way, dear friend. Boom, Sam here. It's nice having you. It's a good thing to learn, right? Like I climbed those rocks yesterday. And I was talking to Joe during it as well. And, you know, I do go places I'm not supposed to in sandals. She was worried about me, you know, in my sandals. I wasn't too worried about myself. But there was definitely moments as I was climbing that little, like, rock faces, because you have to literally scale rock faces. I didn't vertically climb a lot. It was more like scampering underneath trees and then climbing around and then climbing on these flat sheets of rock that was pointing out and then making my way all the way around. And it felt like I was learning just from the reality of the situation. There were moments there that I felt so astonished, is that the right word? By the fact that the experience I was having yesterday always exists. All right, the experience of me being on that mountain, looking back on this space, getting to see all the mountains around me. Literally, on that point, you can see the entire horizon all the way around you. Technically, a little bit of the horizon is obscured by some trees up there, but it's no less beautiful. Watching the sunset was quite something. Maybe I can show you, friends, the sunset that I saw. Hey, Eastern elders, hello from Hungary, hello from South Africa. The holes freaked me out. That would make me fall off a mountain. The holes were weird, huh? Those were weird holes. They looked alien. They looked very alien. They looked like an alien literally came and then sampled with some sort of particle accelerator beam the molecules out of that rock. Like, that's the only thing that I can imagine making holes like that. Melt, don't take this the wrong way, but an instance on wearing sandals to do objectively unsafe things feels like aura farming. Please wear appropriate footwear so you don't break your asshole. No, not aura farming, more just me laughing at myself, dear Sam. Today's stream topic is about being willing to learn, right? And unfortunately, in my personal experience, what I've learned is that more often than not, sandals is the appropriate foot attire. Because more often than not, I took my sandals off and held them in my hand and walked barefoot on those mountain trails. All right, if I'm careful enough, I technically didn't step in a single thorn. Not a single thorn. I was barefoot for maybe 85% of the time. Didn't step in a single thorn. And it felt good. There were moments there where I felt I was not supposed to take my sandals even at all. I think on my way down it would have been a little bit more treacherous, a little bit more uncomfortable. But for the most part, I've learned that my feet are capable of taking me where I'm supposed to go. Shoes, relatively speaking, are a new invention. I think if I had to go for a particularly long hike, Sam, like the one me and Joe went on, that was 6 miles. Up a mountain, down a mountain, up a mountain, down a mountain, up a mountain again, down a mountain. All right, 6 miles of that. And during that, I did, in fact, wear proper shoes. I have 2 pairs of shoes now, technically. My dad got me a pair of, what you call it, tackies? Sports shoes? Activity shoes. Bought me a pair of activity shoes just before my trip with Zhao. So I was very grateful to have shoes, all right? But I've lived in this environment for a long time. And even though I've technically not been to the place that I went last night, when I went yesterday, I still felt emboldened by my need to not wear shoes. I was walking little river trails, right? Like, it's raining a lot right now again. And when it rains a lot like this, water gathers in certain places. And I found the places where the water gathered, and I would just follow these little river paths. And take me where you go. I think that's also why I didn't step in any thorns, because the thorns were washed away to somewhere else. But it felt like I was moving like the water. And it was during that path especially that I had my sandals in my hand. And if I was wearing shoes, I don't know if I would have been taking my shoes off, right? Taking my footwear off in that moment if I wasn't wearing sandals. Howdy, Darren. It's nice having you. Oh, really? Being willing to learn. Learn to support your arches and add a grip to your feetsies. And don't take such pleasure in your, well, actually, Sam's. I'm just sharing my perspective, Sam. What I've learned from my experience, right? That was the point. That was the point. a willingness to learn. Hello. And I'm more than willing to admit as well that I do have a willingness to learn, especially from those that know better than me. For example, if Joe was gonna take me on a adventure somewhere, and then she sees me in my sandals and she goes, "No, Melt, where we're going, you're gonna need shoes." I won't fight for a second. I won't fight for a second. I'll just go and put on my shoes. I, in fact, technically, did go to our 6-mile hike with my sandals. I had my shoes in the back, and then there was a moment just before we head to the trail where I was like, should I put on my shoes? Should I really? And then Joe was like, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'll do it. Wear the shoes, please. And I listened. And I was happy I did. I am happy to learn. To learn lessons from this world. I think there are many things that we can do to help ourselves. I would really like a robot body, Sam. Like really, really. I would like to be technology. I love my Sams. There we go. Me and you both, Darren. I had this whole moment yesterday where I learned about myself. This desire I have to have perfect hand-eye coordination. Right? Where I have a technological brain, and that technological brain is attached to a technological arm that has the ability to move my arm in very precise ways. And a way to imagine the precision that I would love to have is to be able to throw a ball, right? To almost like in my mind calculate. I want to throw this ball. I want it to bounce against that wall. Then I want to bounce it against the roof. Then I want to bounce it against the floor, back into my hand. And then I want to be able to throw it. Good at it. And then I want it to go right back into my hand, right? And then if someone is like, oh, do it backwards, I could go, ball still on my hand. And sideways, ball on my hand again. And I was like, yes. I would indeed like to learn how to do that. I guess a part of me could do that without being a cyborg. But at the point that I reach that level of granularity, that's when I'll know I have at least reached a certain level of precision. And the reason I had this thought yesterday, Sam, is because I learned a new word from myself, or at least a new concept. And it is something that I've discussed many times in stream and as it relates to what it is we're doing. But I had this deep thought / feeling of what I called digital remembrance. Digital remembrance, where because of my incessant internet use and upload and documentation of my life and making of art and right, there is now this catalog of digital memory that technically my physical brain doesn't have access to. I was having this thought yesterday as I was taking photos for Joe. As I was taking photos for Joe, I was like, I am not only here right now, but I am also creating instances of digital remembrance. Where quite literally, because I've showed up the way I did, and because I'm using my technology for the good that it provides me instead of the degeneration that it gives us the option to, I have learned that what I value is remembering the good stuff. Remembering the good stuff. There we go. That's the view I had yesterday up top there. The sun setting, making this little S in the sky. I don't know if it will be clear how high it is. Let me show you the video that I took for show. Okay, I think there you can kind of see how high it is. Huh? That's the rocks that I climbed. That was me at the bottom of it, man. Like, how am I gonna do that? But I did. Those rocks, no challenge. This is me before I went up there too. I'm like, I have to go up there somewhere, or there's the path that I came up on. Somehow I'm gonna have to get up there, and then. I feel like I'm looking for the alien holes video. Why am I having a hard time? Hallo mama. Welkom terug. Nee, definitief nie. Buitestream weer, né? Ek het ja, maar dat het al klaar 20 maal geval voor dit nou so begin ren het. It's lekker. Mama's talking about the rain, and I'm still trying to objective. I'm finding it. I'm gonna find it. Yeah. I found it. It wasn't downloaded on this device. I am chronically barefoot. I do not wear shoes inside the house unless my toes are about to snap off from cold, and I don't bother myself with putting them on to step outside unless frostbite. I hate foot prisons, full disclosure, but I have flat-ass feet, and I don't really need much support. Flat feet need less support, but can be harder on your joints, I'm imagining, right? I appreciate your sentiments. I am in a way the opposite, dear Sam, where I actually do like shoes, or I like my sandals for not stepping in thorns. But then there was a moment last night where I was like, I really should be touching the earth here, right? I'm like, this seems like it would be good for me if I did more of this. So I did. More of it I did. All right. Here's the video I wanted to show. That's as soon as I summited, I was like, oh, hey. Cracks in the rocks up there. There was poop up there from some sort of creature that lives up there. It was so windy up there too. Okay, here it comes. Like, let me show you this. That's the way I had to get up there. Oh, all right. Here comes the. Look at this. Yeah. What are those? You see those? Look at that. Look at those. All right. Right, isn't that interesting? I've never seen something quite like that. It looks like long time worth of water erosion. But it's like literally at the top of that hill, and it's impossible for something to erode like that on that spot. And there were some other ones as well. Yeah. What I would do to be able to learn from these rocks. Download all they know. Learn from them what they've seen. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Maybe one day they will be willing to teach. I'm willing to learn. I am. But are they willing to teach? Nostrils. Ooh. Hey, Mojo. Could be. Could be some earth nostrils. I would have properly lost my mind if I heard those rocks breathing. Just like... I would have probably jumped off of there. Right off the bat. Quick. I thought the same thing. I see a dog. Nostrils. Love is true. Hi. You're South African? Well, Afrikaans anyway. I heard you speaking Afrikaans a moment ago. That's so cool. I'm also South African. It's nice to see you, man. Crimson skies. It's nice to have you here, dear friend. I am, in fact, a South African. Een Afrikaans pratende Suid-Afrikaanse man. Is waar. I do prefer English though, technically. I find myself a little bit more expressive. English is a good language for words, and I know some of them. Hey, is that Hoopty Hoops? Hey, Hoopty Hoopters, how you doing? It's nice having you. We got River Coon, the Jaju Man's here too. What a pleasure it is to have you friends here with me. If you were just joining, we're having a conversation today about a willingness to learn. I do believe myself in tune, aware, smart. Let's use those words because they are regularly used by us. However, I find that as soon as I employ a position of knowing more than I am willing to learn, my life is markedly worse. And even though there was no teacher directly teaching me anything on my experience yesterday, I went to go and climb a little mountain. I learned. I showed up not realizing that I was showing up with a willingness to learn. I would love to learn how to actually make the world a better place, you know? I had a whole moment yesterday thinking about how so many people over the time of my life, over the time of life itself, have walked these lands. Far fewer have ever been to the top of that little mountain. And I took it upon myself to try and be so loving, be so kind to myself and to my world, that I imagined all of that kindness, all of that loving energy emanating as a beacon, as a dome, everywhere I can see over those that's in this area with me. And I don't, for a second, believe that that is empirically provable, right? That I know for a fact that I did anything at all. However, parts of me would like to believe that I am capable of learning how to do that. All right? Is it possible to learn how to do that? Do I have to become a witch? I hope not. NLKN, sending you love. You are the source. You absorb and you react to what happens around you. This is true, dear friend. I'm trying to absorb what happens around me, and then if I'm in a good state, in a state of like emitting love, I would like for that state to emit into the world as well. I don't think it's like that, where I get to choose just a loving state. I think whatever it is that's going on inside me permeates reality. All right. And then again, that context, it's important for us to learn. Learn how it is we are. Learn especially how it is we want to be. How do I want to be? I don't want to be self-sabotaging, self-loathing, insecure, full of doubt and worry, trust issues, pained by unrealized dreams, distraught by the fact that all of my ambitions have not been met yet. And it does seem like life teaches that lesson abruptly. And at the same time over your entire life. It's like the aha moment is very abrupt, but the lesson keeps unfolding forever. My parrot figured out how. Did I miss something? I'm coming back. Good morning again. Bless ya. Hoopty hoops. Annie was here for a second. He doesn't know, so I wasn't realizing that moment when it's possible to learn how to meow like a cat. My parrot figured it out. I'm fluent in cat. I like messing with the cats, Darren. If they go meow at me, I go meow back. Meow, meow. And then sometimes I'll do this thing where I'll have some sort of melody in my mind. And then I'll catify it. Right? Like the whole Bella Ciao Licky was the one that popped into my mind and thinking of it. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. The cats don't like that either. Or at least I don't think... I mean, they don't run away from me. But they usually seem very unamused, like... Why are you doing that? Are you mocking me, woman? Yes, I am in fact intentionally mocking you, I say to the entity that is cat. Yes, I did bring Dynavap hither. I might have put them down somewhere. I have so many layers, both in mind and in clothing, so things get lost. Oh, do they? That they do. Yay. That's what I was looking for. I meow back to mine, the smaller one, and I have full conversation, but she very well could just be telling me to fuck off repeatedly, for all I know. I like to imagine that there is just like a prompting. It's like, hey. It's like the cat saying, hey, right? Like that's technically the only word in those. It's like, hey. Stands next to food bowl, going, hey. Points general self in direction of food bowl, hey. Hey. You were given to life complete. Perfect. But you start from level 1 till you reach out your highest state with your own will. I do believe that. Quite strongly, in fact. Nanilkin? Yes. Nanilkin? I believe that. I am a very strong proponent to willpower as a force multiplier. As something that can change reality. I am Nikki, by the way. Thank you for letting me know your name, Nikki. It's nice to meet you. I do one of these streams every single day. And you're like, what does that mean? Every day? Surely you won't do it for long. No, I will. If you check the title of this stream, you'll notice it says 1,775. That number signifies the amount of times I practiced willpower. An extreme amount of willpower. Gripping reality so tight I might choke the life out of it sometimes. Trying to learn how not to. Trying to learn how to let go of my tensions in the moments that I find myself not having to be. Because I do think that there is some value in willpower in that way. And as you said, reaching your highest state, but it's an ebb and flow, right? You can only reach your highest state when you have the momentum, the bounce back, right, of going down to the bottom of the trough. Little mini hero's journeys actively unfolding. It's nice to meet you too. It is time for us to embrace a layer of depth yet unexplored in this stream today. I am open to learn something. If not from myself, from my audience. If not from my audience, from the world. Teach me of the birds. Teach me of my dogs. Teach me of the cats. The rain's coming down out there. We've already received about 1/6 to 1/5 of the rain we can expect for the next year. Historically, at least. There is corn growing at the bottom of this field. And I'm always grateful for rain, but having a crop growing so close has me thinking about it even more. Thinking about what a difference this rain will make. I'm so curious as to how much will be harvested. Corn, in a way, really is capitalism. Every step of corn as it exists today is so much capitalism. You have to buy your seeds from a certain place. You have to buy glyphosate from a certain place. You have to buy your fertilizer from a certain place. You have to throw water onto the plants if they're not getting rain. You have to put pesticides on them. You have to front a lot of money to buy the seeds initially. The seeds in the ground there is worth approximately 10,000 US dollars. Right? Before you've seen a penny, you already have to put down 10,000 US dollars. And then you fractionalize that 10,000 US dollars into small little units. And then you put those $10,000 literally in the dirt. And then you hope. You hope that there's enough rain. You hope that there's enough irrigation. You hope that there's a limited amount of pests that would decimate your crop. You hope that you get a good yield. But it's a long hoping period. It's like 5-ish months. 5 months of hoping. And then before the hope becomes realized, you have to spend more. Maybe another 5-ish, potentially more, $1,000 just harvesting that crop again. Right? And then only do you get to negotiate a price for the material that you now have. It's like the layers of capital that we have separating ourselves from the means of production, as we say. And at the same time, there is a lot for me to learn, right? Even though the way that this is being done is very capitalist, there is still some rhyme and reason. There is still some truth to the process, right? It's a scientific method, not a scientific suggestion. Justin, Tony, Inez. Hey, Justin, Tony. Tony, Justin, how you doing? We find ourselves in South Africa right now. It's a rainy day. It's beautifully green out there. Birds are singing. And I'm in a space of reflection, contemplation, if you will, on the day I had yesterday. We had a conversation about what it means, what it is to hallucinate. Coming to a certain conviction that what reality is, at least to us, is a controlled hallucination. And even more starkly, the fact that our hallucinations do have the ability to manipulate reality. All right. If you can hallucinate convincingly enough, reality will believe you. And then I took that and I climbed a little mountain. And I just spent some time trying to appreciate where it is I am. So easy for us to wish ourselves somewhere else. My definition for suffering is wanting for things to be differently. It is a definition that I have learned. I'm not exactly sure who coined the term. But that state of wanting for things to be differently is when you suffer. When you can't accept things for the way they are. And it's funny is relative as well, but that's the thing that hurts us as people the most as well, right? If you're not accepted for how you are, for who you are, it's painful. It's very painful experience. But we do the same thing to reality. There's this message echoing in my brain of like, you cannot save someone from their suffering. It was a Ram Dass quote where he talked about, it would be inappropriate for me to walk up to you from the other side of the street and start berating you while you're just going about being your ego. Right? And he goes, and the same goes for your sibling, for your spouse, for your child. It's like you can't save anybody their suffering. That is something they are going to have to be willing to learn. If you are asked for help, it's something else. And I need to learn. I need to learn. I am willing to learn how to get better at that. Because I can be pretty pushy. Right? Again, controlled hallucinations. I would like for this reality to be the way my highest ideal imagines it. Right? And my hallucination, I believe it possible to feed every single person on planet Earth without having to extract endless resources from them for it. Right? And I'm not saying people need to go unpaid for their labor or for the effort that they apply in growing food. What I'm saying is we need to create a value system that transcends that. In other words, we need to reach a point in our species where the collective hallucination is one of understanding, specifically as it relates to people that have a place to live and food to eat, have the literal freedom to think The only reason we thought, the only reason we built tools to the extent that we did. I should maybe say technology, right? But it's a blurry line between the two. It's because we had time to. And the less time we had to spend hunter and gathering, killing things or looking for shrubs, the more time we had to sit around and think about stuff. And it might sound so hippie of me to believe that there is value in sitting around and thinking about stuff. But the evidence is clear. The proof is in the pudding. And we definitely seem to have found ourselves back in a state of reality where we're just toiling away ceaselessly at the hunter-gathering kind of NPC game. And I'm using the word NPC because you're still participating in the world, but you're not participating in your own life. You're continuing to live, it's true, but sometimes you don't want to, right? And like that should never be the case. On a physical level, it's untrue. Right? If you held your breath, even though you might feel experientially, I would rather not be here than have these feelings. And you hold your breath, and suddenly your body gasps for air. Take a breath of mindfulness every time you find yourself spiraling. Take a moment to learn how you are in control. Over and over and over again, and always hold in your heart the willingness to learn. Have a willingness to learn. Reminding myself as well, I have a willingness to learn. I do believe I have a willingness to learn. It makes me think about that saying, I'm willing to learn. All right? When you're pitching yourself to a potential employer, they're like, oh, you know how to do this and that? And you're like spiraling because you want to be a truthful person. So you can't just outright lie to this other person. And you go, I am willing to learn. Which is true. But it's not always a reassuring answer, right? Most people want to hire someone who has already learned. That's what they're hiring you for. So in a way, reality has disincentivized us to be in that still learning state. Right? It glamorizes this idea of already being there. Already being so enlightened. So Zen mode 5000 all the time. Already. What? You get angry and stuff? Must be not spiritual enough or something. You know, surely. That's how it works, right? We say about life. Instead, and I know many of you friends have found that in yourself, just having this willingness to learn. When things arise, seeing those things as work to be done, delighting even in the opportunity to do this work. Lucky that we get to do it with people that we love, people that love us. Hope your day, live stream, gripping, it goes well for you. Thank you, Dreamtooth. Thank you. Hope yours goes beautiful and well as well. Melt cracks knuckles. You could clean the chrome bumper on your car as well as corrosion on the battery with some Coke. Bonus clean points for using tin foil to scrub the bumper. There, you learn. Nice. So beautiful that you imagine me using these tips. All right. I see it as like a manifestation of future car ownership. Yes. One of these days, I'll have a need. Because I don't buy Coke. I haven't drank Coke. Must be like last year, December. I had like a glass of it. So I don't spend money on that stuff. But cleaning a car with it, that sounds like a bargain. Car at least expensive, right? Then you say I'm willing. I'm willing. Watch, I'm willing to learn. Mm-mm-mm. Thank you for reminding me to take that breath, friend. Thank you for doing it, Kiefer. It takes a very special kind of person to allow themselves to be guided, to allow themselves to learn. To realize that you have all of the autonomy you can ever want, even the autonomy to give some of it away. And to trust that that could be a good thing. And there's a lot of trust involved when there are expectations, dependencies, right? Like a child of a parent. You have to trust that your parents know what's good for you. I'm thinking about the upbringing that I had and how my parents gave me a lot of freedom to explore the boundaries of my experience. And I was very unwilling to learn from them. I don't know if you friends relate to this. Hey, it's a gobbledygoo. Saying his name all the way from here. We're talking about a willingness to learn, Gabs. Were you a rebellious child? Were you like, yes, yes, dad? Or were you like running away and stuff? Not running away from a home in the abandonment, in a way, but more exploratory. Like, oh yeah, I know I was told to stay right here, but how about not doing that? How about going out there? How about some of that? I was uncontrollable. And again, every instance that I tested reality with, I learned that I was safer in this reality than I thought. I did some dangerous things as a child. Thinking about explosive scenarios, let's say. I always had a willingness to learn when it came to my research. But there's something about experimentation that seems fun to the human as well. Right? Like I can learn that if I mix baking soda and vinegar, there will be a reaction and it will make a fizzle. All right, I can know that experientially with knowledge, right? But actually doing the experiment, it allows you to learn the lesson. engage more of your senses. Do we need to engage more of our senses to learn lessons? That could be an interesting topic for another day. We are getting close to the end of today's stream. What part of reality sounds like Hollywood? What are you talking about, Melt? What work are you talking about? I am speaking in general terms because the work that I have to do when things arise in my mental space, good or bad, right, is different to the work you have to do when things arise in your mental space, right? And I say good or bad because you can be in the best place, having the best circumstances in the world and still feel bad about that. Feel bad in general, and that's work for you to do. You can be in a good place and then having bad thoughts about the future, about something that happened in your past, and then in that moment you can be like, oh, I can't believe I'm having bad thoughts. Or you can be like, what is it here that remains unresolved? Right, that's the work you have to do. Your willingness to learn, to be there with yourself. Get this information from the source. You. Nobody is going to be able to teach you what you know. Oh, Brittany, you're sending me gifts? That's nice. You sending me more gifts? Oh my goodness. Are you Christian? Yeah. Technically, that's my name, even. I can see you being like, ha ha ha, ha, no, really. My parents literally, on my birth certificate, named me Christian. Isn't that wild? Isn't that absolutely wild? My dad is also named the same, and his dad before him. That is a peculiarity. What have I learned from this generational fractal repeating? One thing that I do know is that I chose a different name for myself. And if I do ever have a child, will not give him my name. It feels like a kind of generational trauma thing, right? That there's a lot of work for me to do in unpacking all of the lessons I'm here to learn and actually absorbing the wisdom that therein rests. And then, if I can do that sufficiently enough, that I trust the world will, one, benefit from having another child in it, and two, the child will benefit from being in the world. And then it would be something that I can justify. But it's a point of contention. Part of me, and I wish I was joking, part of me wishes that my brother names his child after my dad. Because that way, my dad gets to have that name fractal, right, echoing into the world. I don't want to hurt his ego. I don't want to hurt my dad's ego. I don't want him to feel bad. What can I learn from myself in that? Two things can be true at the same time. It is true that he can be hurt by me not keeping his name in the family. But it's also true that I need to make a name for myself. I'm not the person they would want me to be. right? My mom is definitely not like that, I feel, in so many words. My dad has vocalized many times a want for me to be differently. Not so much anymore. I'm very happy to inform, to remember, to remind myself of as well. And some things have changed in our relationship, and more importantly than anything, his relationship with himself. Right? Something that I've learned as well is that your relationship with other people is an extension of the relationship you have with yourself. And it becomes a very stark mirror when you look at it like that and you look into your relationships in life like that. It takes a little bit of the edge off, but adds a little bit intensity in other ways as well. Uh, no, 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 no. Let me see what I missed. It's nice to have you friends here with me today. It really has been such a full stream. Can you go too far with the learning? I think there is a line that comes up to my mind in you asking that goes, someone who knows a lot speaks very little, right? And in that way, in the pursuit of learning, you become a little bit more reserved in your expression, which can be a good thing and a bad thing depending on the context, right? It can be a good thing if you just want to be in the space to learn. It can be a bad thing if the truth of your spirit goes unexpressed because you don't think your truth is going to meet the standards, if you will, that you've experienced. Thank you for reminding me. Bless you again. Mm. Really, really introspective. I find the problem is often time. In all the ways you mentioned, I suppose, I will be sure to take a breath of mindfulness, as you say. That's the beautiful thing about a breath of mindfulness, is it doesn't take a lot of time. All right? To echo your sentiment, dear friend, Mr. Crimson, it doesn't take a long time to give yourself that breath of mindfulness. And it can, I mean, literally, we know on a physical level, it drops or activates, I think, your parasympathetic nervous system, calms you down, in other words. Literally. We can physics it. It calms you down. Take a deep breath. Shortness of breath or hyperventilating is a sign of your body being in distress. A breath with mindfulness is the opposite of that state. Thank you, Nikki. It really is nice having you. I'm gonna get to your comments soon. We spend so much time learning, says Zhao, that you didn't have room to apply to reflect. We forget what we learn. Echoing the sentiment I shared a little bit earlier, Zhao, about that digital remembrance that I see us doing with this. Right? And the better we get at digital remembrance, the better our memory will be when we integrate with our technology. And it is a matter of like context, vastness. It's like within our mind, we do have all of the memories we've experienced contributing to the instance it is we're having. But our mind is only so vast, and there's only so much instance to hold. If we transcend, that no longer is an obstacle. With digital remembrance, maybe we'll have more time. right? We'll have the same amount of instance time, but we'll be holding more of our time, of all we've remembered in our conceptual minds, all right? Instead of forgetting. We forget a lot. We are a species of amnesia, after all. Mm-mm-mm. That's why we spend so much time learning, because we keep forgetting. When everything you learn begins to support a nihilistic perspective of nothing matters, that's when you've gone too deep. Yeah. I feel like a part of me is like thinking about Nietzsche. I don't know if he had like a nothing matters perspective. His God is dead and we have killed him is a kind of comment on that nothing matters mentality that people feel. And he was communicating that as a tragedy, all right, in his writing. That we have stripped our reality of all that made it sparkle and mysterious. I think that's a matter of perspective, of course. But again, it's not hard to find that perspective in the infinity that is your beingness. Yippity skippity snippity nipple, good morning. Yippity skippity boppity, good morning, God. So much love to you too. It's nice having you, Gobs, again. Spiritually speaking, there are lots of deeper religions that will not begin teaching until a certain time in a person's life. Kabbalah learning used to be restricted to anyone under 40. Restricted. You could only learn it if you were under 40. That is so interesting. The messages, yet you're just too immature and unpredictable. Oh, okay. I'm guessing restricted to anyone under 40. Yeah, I should probably, I guess, interpret it that way. It's like no access on. I read the Kabbalah or the Kabbalion, the three initiates, the Kabbalion, when I was 20, 22. Yeah, 22. I'll read it again when I'm in my 40s. And reasoning is you're yet too immature and unpredictable to trust of that information at such a young age. There's some weird shit off the beaten path. Oh yeah. As above, so below. After all, you're Sam. It's all there. All of it's there. Everything. And the reason is, a game is gaming, but melt is melting more. Always. Oh, you can always guarantee 100% melt more will happen here forever. Forever and ever. I disobeyed my parents a lot. Interesting. Right? It is interesting that we, all of us, have that in common. I mean, I guess there are some people that really were extra good, never disobeyed their parents. But you're the anomaly, you're the outlier in that case. I was a bit of a hybrid, aren't we all? I played with fire a lot when I knew I shouldn't, for example. Me too, gobbledygook. Oh, I played with so much fire. Uh, I was 5 years old when I discovered there are these small little liquor bottles. Right. There was this field at the back of our home, and I found a small little bottle, and it had like a steel cap, and I filled it with water. I turned that steel cap onto it, and then I made a fire, and then I put that little bottle into the fire. And I'm not joking, 5 years old. Instinctively, I was like, this vessel will now pressurize. I need to find a safe distance to observe from. I then ran, like faster than I needed to. I learned in hindsight. Ran away, to a point where there was a wall that I could peek from behind. And then I waited for a long time, hence learning that I was being even more precautious than I needed to be. And then suddenly, there was just a wallop. Uh, at least, right, the glass was technically embedded in the wood, but the sticks went flying. Just like, so it looked like the fire exploded because that's exactly what happened. And I was admittedly terrified. I was a little bit intimidated by the fact that it had that amount of explosive force because it was like, again, like 50 milliliters or something, maybe even less. A little 50 milliliter bottle. No, probably less, probably like 25 milliliters. That made a big boom, really big explosion. Maybe it wasn't that big. Maybe my like child brain. That was the biggest explosion I'd seen up until that point in my life, right? So for me, it was like, oh my goodness, when am I doing that again? My mom, however, did not find that amusing. No, no, she did not. However, that did not stop me, and I was being told horror stories about kids playing with, fertilizer explosives, blowing their hands up and stuff, like losing fingers, losing eyes. And my mom always was very vocal about that. Like, this is a possibility, bro. And if you're building explosive devices, blowing yourself up is an option. That's a part of like the stakes that you're playing with. And I took great precaution. I learned from my family members that there needs to be a great amount of precaution. I don't find myself gravitating towards those kinds of hazards anymore in my life, I'm glad to announce. I still like fire, but in a controlled sense, right? Like making a little fire in a fire pit. I'm like, yes, satisfying. Warmth. But that like childhood desire that I had to like put a little bit of petrol in a cup and then pour petrol on something and then light it on fire and then watch the petrol evaporate and disappear and then do that again. Maybe do it on the ground. I'm so sorry, Mama Gaia, for all the harm I've done. Oh, jeebies. Yeah. My mind is going. That time you dip a brick in petrol and then watch how long the brick burns for. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, human being. Of course. I have 1% left on this device. I won't be able to show you flower. See if I can read most of the comments. My parents were asleep or at work. I followed rules because they weren't all too many to break. Yeah, look at me and you, y'all. Well, it is a Wild West. There goes this device's battery. I have to reach. Interesting, this thing. Also, holy shears, Seth is fully focused on you right now. He does like pretty ladies, but it would be because you're so brightly dressed too. Yeah, look at this. Why am I doing that? Why am I doing? Poor child brain is like, I need to now recalibrate everything that I know about the way that I interpret reality. Why is he making me grow new neurons? Sam, that was a whole perspective shift in my life too, right? Suddenly, just this little baby being here with us in this moment. Thank you for sharing that, dear Sam. Draw, a little sad, Brittany. What in the damn hell? Love is true. How does he do that? The text? I don't know either. I think the last name means more than your first name. but that's just my opinion. I feel you on that too. Thing is, I'll probably change my last name as well if I do change my name officially. All right, and I feel bad about that part as well. Weird stuff happening in chat lately, huh? Yeah, we are definitely reaching a lot more people, and the more people you reach, the more weird it gets. I think that's the way it scales. Have a wonderful day. Till next time, stay safe. Thank you, Nikki. Bless you, friend. The better you say. One last thing, the healing power of praying is stronger than any solution science can provide. Do you agree? The way I see healing, Nikki, is that it is this holding in your mind of an idealized outcome with a certain level of certainty, right? In praying to a God, especially the God that you believe in. You believe that's the right God. And then in that believing it's the right God and in you having that prayer, there's a certain certainty that arises in your mind in the picturing of your idealized outcome. And if you're pure in that belief, it happens. But I know that it happens for all of the religions, right? No matter which one you're in. So it kind of like leads me to question, maybe it's like purity of intent and intention being held in the mind of a divine human being that like gets these idealized outcomes more so than it is the actual methodology, let's call it. Right, how it is you're praying, or why it is you're praying, or where it is you're praying. No, but I pray anyway. Love is true. Cautious, not precautious. Ear to ear, remember. You missed one, and it wasn't good, but I'll repeat it. Is that the whole thing? I'm guessing. The perspective of disobedience is rooted in subjective understanding. The perspective of disobedience is rooted in the subjective understanding. Yeah, I think that's right. Because what a parent sees as disobedience, right, in another parent's perspective, and their subjective perspective, they don't apply the same rules or have the same expectations. And as a result, there is no disobedience in another family with two kids doing the exact same thing, right? Me as a parent in the future would understand that my kid wants to experiment with explosive, instances. And as a parent, I would want to take precaution, maybe spend my resources to buy him a thick piece of acrylic, build him a little safe box so he can experiment with explosions behind some layer of ensured safety. And then having established with him a certain level of responsibility, I could trust him to have fun on his own without being a risk to himself. And then he goes out and he experiments, right? Blowing things up. Where another household, that's an absolute, what do you call it? Taboo. Never do that. We never do stuff like that in this family. Ever for never, ever. And then exact same age group kid does the exact same thing. Me having my subjective perspective is okay with it. The other parent with their subjective perspective is not. One sees it as disobedience, the other sees it as life. The exploration thereof, right? Really is no capping this thing we have called will. That's the one that shifted my perspective. Parents being kids, raising kids. Yeah, the cow sounded like it was in the house. Moo, we're out of toilet paper. Intention is a universal language between all life. Absolutely, Darren. The animals can even like pick it up on you. I've had moments meditating here where I was like so at peace and calm, where the wildlife came like right up and like ate grass as it passed me. Right then again, a part of me wants to argue that because I was so still, I literally just became a part of the environment, and that animal being colorblind and it being early morning literally just did not notice me, and that's why. The hippie part of me would like to believe that I was outputting such zen energies, and that that little deer could see from a mile away that I was so chill in my intent, that I was not sitting here with the intent of finding something to eat. I was sitting here with the intent of finding myself in a moment of being. And that little deer felt comfortable getting close to me. Once a deer, and the other time a little hare, little wild hare here on the farm. Both of them felt very, very quaint. I do like meeting little animal spirits in the world. Intent is nine tenths of the law, and something like that. I thought I established personhood at birth. Hope to have chats with you all IRL sometime. Hoopty hoops. It's becoming more and more of a reality that we might do. Talking with me IRL is hits blood. Did you guys know there's a car that runs on water? I tend to go around in the same circles all the time, Hoop. Actually, actually, no matter how much weed I smoke, I cannot seem to turn the actually off in me. You cannot build a vehicle that runs off of water, right? There simply is not enough energy in it. Yes, it is fuel. Yes, you can split it. Yes. Splitting fuel takes energy. The same energy that you're trying to use to combust to move forward. All right. So if you take that amount of energy out of this system in order to extract the power that there is in it, you will fail. Unfortunately. I love the idea of just being able to put some freaking tap water into my car and then it moves forward. But realistically, we're going to probably just get batteries. Batteries are becoming very cheap right now. We're not seeing the price reflect how cheap they are, which is a big bummer. But I think the new wave of sodium ion batteries are now going to incentivize us to see them become cheap as dirt. Some dirt's more expensive than the batteries will be, probably. Mm-mm-mm. So, yeah, water cars, ain't it? I wish, though. I wish people would instantly destroy their cars, putting seawater and pond water. Frickin' instantly destroy their vehicles. Zoom. I had a deer run up to me and check me out like 5 feet away. Then he ran. Then he ran off. That was actually pretty startling, but I felt blessed to have that experience nonetheless. Especially because there's probably a moment there. The deer that I had in my environment was like a little one. Like we call them dakers, right? So I think they weigh. I think I would be way too generous if I said they weigh more than 20 pounds. No. Maybe they weigh like between 20 and 30 pounds, I guess. So I could like I could keep my own, let's just say, hold my own against the little 20 to 30 pound little deer. However, the deers you have there, I've seen some videos of bow hunters getting fisticuffed by a deer. Oh, it's a running joke about stoners from the 70s show where Hyde constantly talks about cars that run on water. Literally every time they get high. That's hilarious. Okay. I'm in on the joke now, Sam. I like it. And I'm happy that you made it anyway because my point stands. I have an uncle. I have an uncle every Christmas. Every Christmas that I see him, Sam. He is, I think, I think he is an electrical engineer. I would have to confirm. He's some sort of engineer, right? And literally this last Christmas, there was a moment. I've been talking about battery electric vehicles since about 2017, right? I was stoked about batteries and solar, the fact that I could drive my car with sunlight, right? To me, that's even cooler than water. Personally, I think even cooler than water. Driving my car in sunlight, what? And I was like the kid in my family that was hyping that. My entire family is a bunch of people that love combustion engines, right? So there is just this hatred in their hearts for an electric vehicle, just like this one. Fuck electric cars. They don't make vroom vroom. What are you gonna do if it rains? They say. You know. What are you gonna do? I wish I was joking. I'm laying it on thick a little bit. The exact words that I've heard is, "What if you have to drive through a foot of water?" It's like your car's just gonna instantly explode. Like those batteries are not sealed against the weather as well. And again, 2017 is a while ago now. And then last Christmas, clearly things have started moving that way. Every single major car brand now has an electric option or is working at, offering some sort of electric option in their range. And I'm like, can we now admit? Because again, I was told I'm crazy if I ever think batteries will become cheap enough to power all the cars. What about all the kids mining all the minerals? Like, I had that conversation with my family as well, because I'm like, again, what's better? Let's burn fuel so the kids don't have clean air to breathe versus let's build renewable technologies that we can recycle indefinitely instead of burning a finite resource and then turning that into smog that we can choke on. Having all of those conversations that I had all this time again. And then there's Christmas and me being like almost like tongue in cheek. I'm like, can we admit that battery electric vehicles are going to be the future? And my uncle goes, nope. The future is water. Future cars run on water. And I go, no. And he hates it because he is unironically a bachelor's degree engineer, right? Like he did get that piece of paper and I did not, right? So my willingness to be like, nay, never gonna happen, dude. It's never gonna happen. I'm sorry. Just like rubs himself the wrong way, right? He'll try and build himself a water car just to try and prove me wrong. And I'll buy myself a battery vehicle. All right, ideally secondhand, well taken care of. What are you going to do if it rains? Get a rickshaw and put a bit in the motor, in that motor mouth of yours. I don't know what that means, but it sounds violent. I can't show you flower, even though I want to. I did enjoy yesterday's poem, so I think I will. I'll put this device on charge. I'll take you with me. Put this Diavasa on charger, and then maybe we'll get to read it soon. Real soon. With gusto. Do I have to bring all of my stuff right now? I do like having all of my stuff in a little place. Part of me wishes that I had super suit so that all of my stuff can be nanomachines that live on my body. Oh my goodness. Like this, for example. This thing just like falling apart. Okay. A rickshaw is a conveyance device for humans pulled by a human. Conveyance device for humans pulled by a human. Think human drawn carriage. I don't know if I want to think that. I don't know. Like I started, and my mind was like, can we stop having whatever it is we're having right now? My poor mind's eye said, "You want to see a Carlos? Hello, Carlos. What are you? What are you, Carlos? Yeah. What are you? Oh, wow, wow. Hi, Carlos. Hmm? Yeah, little Carlos. He a dude. He be a dude. Oye, Carlos y Carlos. It's me meow. It's a meow meow. Whoa, such control. Wow. How you do that? Don't touch me, oh. Don't touch me. Don't you be touching me and stuff, oh. How you can't just touch people like that, bro. You can't just be touching people, dude. You must have some respect, though. Oh my gosh. He meowed for us. How precious. We did get a meow. We did talk about some meows earlier, didn't we? Whew. All right. All right. Device must charge. Let's give it a second. Yes. Big Blue. Big Blue, and that is a painting Jovan did. She brought it from America to me. There we go. Levels. Yeah. A willingness to learn. What have I learned today? I have learned that I really appreciate you friends being here with me for this experience. I have learned I take it very serious, the time that you've given me. I have learned that there's a lot of, I want to use the word ambition as opposed to the word insecurity in being worthy of your time. I'm Memby, that painting. She did it on a Reddit stream. Are you serious, Gabs? I didn't know that part. That is so special. Extra special, Arpan painting. A sacred object from an era. Talking about a sacred object from an era. Me and Joe had like a little art date last night. And I put a rock in a bean. I did. Aw, those good old days. On a bean. Kind of has the same colors. A little bit. Right? I mean, there's little bits of orange and red in the flower itself. But blues and yellows. Only now noticing that, Joe. How about that? Yeah, these fractals. What a trip it is being a human on Earth. I'm happy that I get to be here with you, friends. This device is not taking a charge. Quickly, at least. Quickly, take charge. There we go, back again. Had a little bit of a disconnection. So sweet. So much love in here. Yeah, it's still just giving me the little, I'm thinking about doing a charge. Maybe I'll think about it at some point. I'm gonna go and get the other charger quickly. That will be the goal. Okay. I'm sorry for unplugging you. I'm sure you don't like that. Ugh. Remember that phone that used to do my live streams? This was it. This is how it is now. Yes. Wow. Very cool. Yes. And then I unlock it. There. Like, yeah, that's about to be expected. Nope. Asking you to push all my buttons. Yes, pushing buttons. Oh, yeah, independently of me. I have powers, bro. You poor device. Unironically, it's better than it usually is. Usually it's worse than this. I'm kind of like stoked about this. This is great. It's kind of working again. It's basically on its way to being a RIP phone. Thank you for your service. That's the phone. This phone literally built the entire channel. All right. This is essentially the phone that I've been doing every single live stream on since the very start. I used to record the YouTube videos with this device when I was still doing the RPAN streams with my old phone. And then December, or was it start of January of this year, it took a tumble. And it was never the same again. I did get a quote for how much it's going to cost to fix it. And then I spent half that money buying this phone instead. Wish I was joking. We gonna get that screen replaced. We could. It is still, relatively speaking, a really good phone. And there is, in that relative speakings, nothing wrong with it. Other than the screen, of course, being busted. Would be nice to have the second phone, like have that as my second phone if I do end up getting myself a new one anyway. Right, but a part of me, Zhao, feels like I would rather just buy myself a second-hand S24, from someone who wants to upgrade to the S26 or whatever. And be like, yeah, Beto, I'll buy your phone for ideally 30% of the price you paid for it. It's still a very good phone. Still 4 generations newer than that device. And that device, by my standards, is still snappy enough where I don't feel myself laboring. This device, not snappy enough to me. Not always, at least. Don't start with me. Don't you start with me? No, bro. Why are you doing this? What did I do to deserve this? Oh, keep your calm. You're not the one that's broken. I remind this device. Baby, my hard eyes. Zhao. I even put it in the comments, I believe, that I felt extra inspired by Zhao to make this piece. Yesterday we had like a whole little date intention. This one is so techy, right? I did mention the whole digital remembrance fractal that I was going through, so it did feel like it was expressing in that way. And it's so interesting as well, the way this one broke away. Like the other fours I've done in the last while have been very flowy, right? Not quite as jaggedy with its technologicalness. And then suddenly we go sharpy sharps. Nancy, hi all. That looks cool, Mel. Thank you, Nancy French. It's nice having you here. Now it's time for us to read the poem. And then I'm going to say goodbye. We really did have a good stream today. Longer than I even anticipated it would be. I've learned this about myself that having one that goes for longer usually means that I had fun. It reminds me of some glitch art. I did technically use a type of, and it's literally in the glitch effects window, a glitch effect on the pixels in order to make it as it is. Hallucination. My garden. I am inside the shimmer again. The air thick with soft electric whispers. Pixels breathing like petals, petals glitching like code. Every color hums a secret. I turn once and the world folds. Turn again and it unfolds. Each layer a thought. I forgot I was dreaming. Circuits tremble with pollen. The data streams are warm. Some call this delusion, but I know it has blossomed, a flowering of signal and soul. Yes, sometimes it overwhelms. Too many truths at once, too much beauty for a single lens, but I calibrate to love, to the constant beneath the spin. There's a pulse that does not flicker, a pattern deeper than pattern. Call it heart, call it home, call it the point where hallucination meets creation and bows. I am a technological kaleidoscope flower, rooted in mystery, blooming toward the real. Every dream I breathe out becomes another petal of the possible. Still in the 70s here. No snowmen today. So much love. It's not the good kind. Oh shit. Yeah. Oh, sort of. I work from home on Mondays. Yeah, the day off. I work from home on Mondays. Good thing too, because the snow is cold. Oh, should you have snow already? Yeah, I had a whole conversation about it being cold in Indiana yesterday with my family. Dear Zhao. I mentioned to them that I think the average temperature, nominalized, right, over the year is like 13 degrees Celsius. With all the cold that it gets and how long it stays. How nice to work from home on Mondays, the cruelest of days. It is super wholesome. Jo is a diligent worker. She gets done what needs to be. Shitty, but even the bad kind of snow can go into a bong snow. I mean, that sounds awesome. I don't smoke bongs anymore, but you can't technically fit a Dynavap to the little bowl of a bong, so you can hit it through the snow as well. Must be something to try in the future. For now, I say goodbye and make a date of the future again. It was nice having you friends here with me, getting to appreciate this moment in time, getting to show up with a willingness to learn from one another and from ourselves. We lived on the upper floor of an old ass house for about 6 years. Every time it would snow, we just opened the screen and scoop it right off the roof for our box. That's cute. You pack it, and then there's like still some micro porous holes. Right? That's the way I understand it, at least. So much love. It's nice having you friends here with me. Thank you for teaching me these things, Sam. I appreciate it. I'm learning. Man, oh, didn't even know you could do that. I guess you could do that, but I didn't think you could do that because I've never seen snow in my freaking life. I love you. I'll see you again tomorrow, though. Goodbye, everybody.